Good afternoon, folks. This is Tuesday, March the 14th, the weekly meeting for the Frankfort Optimist Club, which meets at the Office Pub and Deli each Tuesday. And I want to welcome everybody to our meeting today. I would like to comment just briefly on last week's meeting. Kelly Dykus was our program, and she came and talked to us about the Sunshine Center. And she said one of their greatest needs at the Sunshine Center are diapers. So we thought we would pitch in and help a little bit with the diaper problem for the youngsters that are there. But if you didn't bring your diaper packet, we will take your money. So, and we'll also see that Kelly gets it. So anyway, that's what we're doing for that program. And we still, if you forgot it today, bring it next week. So we'll go from there. All right. We'll move right into our program, and we have with us Paula Rowe, who's a good friend of mine. I go to church with her, see her every week, talk to her on cell phone. We text back and forth. She's a ball of fire, works for Community Trust here in Frankfurt. I think maybe one of the VPs. But anyway, she's going to come forward and introduce our program. So Paula's been telling me she wants to be an optimist, so I'm going to leave her with an application.
Thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited for you guys to learn a little bit about the Frankfort Fund, the community fund that we do here. And so, thank you, Jimmy, for that introduction. I'm glad that he said I was a spit of fire and not something worse than that. But I'm really excited to actually be able to share with you guys. I am not going to be the person talking to you guys. In fact, it's going to be Harry, who is our chairman of the board. But a lot of people, when you think about the Frankfort Community Fund, people are like, what's that? And why is this important? And why is it relevant, right? And so I had that question too when I was invited to be a part of the board. I was like, what is that? And how can this be impactful? And when you guys think as the Optimist Club as a whole and the things that matter to you guys, one of the things that you guys put in there is to be enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. And then think of the best, do work only for the best, and to expect only the best. And when I think of the Frankfort Fund Foundation, that's what I think of, is we realized there was a need in Frankfurt that we could become better, that we could offer more things. And how do we do that? And what that has created an umbrella of amazing things. And so I'm excited for Harry to talk about it, tell you guys about it. A lot of you guys know him. I've known him as an appraiser. He came to my house and one of the water pipes busted in his face when he was there. I was mortified. But phenomenal guy. I always say he's like the mayor of Frankfurt. Everybody knows who he is. So without much further ado, I'm going to let Harry just do his thing. Thank you for having us, guys.
Great. Thank you, Harry.
All right. I've got my face far enough away from the microphone so I can talk without. Does it sound okay? Can you hear me? It's not okay. Cool. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the community fund because, as Paul says, it's not always something that's easier for folks to understand. Sometimes, I've had conversations with people 4 or 5 times before it starts to register. The Franklin County Community Fund is an endowment. And so I guess it's been 6 or 7 years ago, a group of us got together because we realized that Frankfurt, we didn't have our own community foundation. We didn't have an endowment, to provide for, things that we want to do in the community. And it was like, why not? We're the capital city. What's the deal here? Why don't we have a foundation? So we started looking into it, and we realized now, and with the way things are in the world, to have our own standalone community foundation, really you have to have a huge endowment, probably $10 or $15 million, just to generate enough income to support the administrative piece of it. Because you're keeping people's money forever. The endowment is in perpetuity, so there's a lot of rules about how the money's managed, how it's invested and all. So we thought, well, it doesn't make any sense right now for us to have our own. What do we do? We talked to a number of community foundations around the state and ended up deciding to affiliate with the Bluegrass Community Foundation, which is based in Lexington. They've been around since 1967. Their service area includes all the counties in central Kentucky. They were the only one that said, well, we would, they had staff that was willing to help and work with us and provide us support as we move forward. And they've grown, really under the leadership of Lisa Atkins, probably over the last 7 or 8 years, have grown phenomenally in their endowment. So I think I'm going to say it's $200-some million now. It's pretty significant, which all started in 1967 with $1,000. So it only goes to show you, if you pay attention, it can work. And an endowment, one of the things about an endowment, and it makes people, like, okay, I'm giving money to what? And it's doing what? How are we doing this? And it's going locked up forever. And it's a tough thing. And I remember our friend George Russell, who passed recently, years ago when we first started talking this, I remember talking to George about it, and he's like, scratching his head. And George wasn't a stupid guy by any means, George, smart guy. And he was like, but it wasn't registering at first. And I said, George, you give money to these charities every year, generous contributions. I said, who's going to do that when you're gone? So if you put money away that'll generate income, so long after you're gone, that money will be generating income that'll provide for, the nonprofits in our community. So not only do we have the community endowment, but we've worked with a lot of our nonprofits here to set up endowments of their own, so that that a lot of their their benefactors can give legacy gifts, so that they're in a better position as time goes on. I like to use the I guess it was the Florence Crittenden Home in Lexington, which had been around as a nonprofit that had been around for 100 and some years, and ended up closing a couple years ago. But after all that time, nobody had ever created an endowment for them, so they didn't have anything. When times got really, really bad, they just had to close the doors. So I think that's one of the things that we need to think about. Is what happens when we're long gone. Are all the nonprofits that are our community infrastructure, are they sustainable? Will they be sustainable over time? And what is it that we can do to to help make that happen? One of the interesting things when you look at money and endowments, the Kentucky Philanthropy Initiative did a transfer of wealth study, which they updated recently, which talks about how much money moves between generations over a period of time. We're all going to go sometime. Where does the money or the wealth that we've accumulated, where's it going? So one of the models that they like to use is, let's say, a 5% figure. Like if you take 5% of the money that's going to transfer between generations over a 10-year period, what does that generate? What is that, how much money is that? And we laugh because we think 5% is a reasonable amount of money, because no matter how much you're worth, no matter how much your estate is, your kids aren't going to miss 5% of it. It's gone. And so in Franklin County, over a 10-year period, there'll be $1.2 billion will transfer between generations. If you capture 5% of that, that's $60 million. That $60 million can generate $3 million in grants annually. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of support for this community. So when you start to think about it like that, it makes a little bit more sense. It's ambitious, but the more we talk about it, the more you all talk about it, then it'll start to register, and people think about it. We've raised we have close to $300,000 in the endowment now. That's money in the endowment. That's not. We have a number of I guess they call them legacy gifts that are promised. So when folks pass, then they will be leaving money to it. We've been able to do some small grants. I guess early on we gave a grant to the King Center for the Heartbeats program. There was a point at the Humane Society during their fundraising thing, we reached a critical point. We were able to help them out. But really the key to this for us, for the community fund and the board, is how do we leverage what little money we have right now? What is it that we can do with these smaller grants to leverage more money? Who do we partner with? And it's not just partnership in terms of, grant making and all. It's partnerships in terms of how do we increase the level of philanthropic activity in the community? How is it that we get people to give more? The whole idea is to grow the philanthropic pie, if you will, in Frankfort. How is it that we do this? So one of the things, and because we're affiliated with the Bluegrass Community Foundation, they do the Good Giving Challenge every fall. It's primarily an online giving thing that nonprofits can participate in to raise money. Bluegrass, through their larger donors and some of their foundation partners, is able to do matches. So a number of our nonprofits here take advantage of it. Josephine's Sculpture Park, Melanie has been just amazing at what she's been able to do with the Good Giving Challenge and raising money for the park and for her endowment, because she's won several years matching money that goes directly into her endowment. The Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation has taken advantage of it, Woods and Water Land Trust, as well as the Imagination Library, just a few of the. But we have a lot more nonprofits here in Frankfort that we hope will start taking advantage of these things. We also have a number of nonprofits in Frankfort that have created their own endowments at Bluegrass, including the Humane Society, the Grand Theater, Josephine Sculpture Park. And recently, the Parks Department, the Parks Board here had talked about creating their own nonprofit, for a way for people to fund projects outside of what the money that the city parks got from the city budget. And in conversations with them, it just didn't really make sense administratively for them to set up an entire nonprofit to support the park. So what ended up happening is they set up 3 different funds with us. One, an endowment, a permanent endowment that people could give to that would generate income for the parks for special projects from here on out. Then they set up 2 funds, one that people could donate for more immediate projects. That money would not go into an endowment, it would go into a fund that would pay for projects in the parks. And then a separate fund for funding the tree canopy project downtown, which the city has committed money to, and Rich Rosen has committed a significant amount of money to get it kicked off. And then there's this additional fund that can be raising money so that we can continue to move forward with the tree canopy project. So those are the kind of things that we've been able to do, just partnering with people and just increasing people's knowledge of what a community foundation, what a community fund can mean for a community. We were also we partnered with the city and the county and emergency management folks during COVID, and we were able to raise $40,000 to help the nonprofits that were stretched beyond capacity during COVID. So that was, helpful, and that was aside from, the money that was going into the endowment. We've also partnered with the Rotary. They have their National Rotary, or National Rotary has grants, but they need, local matches and partners in the community. So we were able to partner with the Rotary on a grant that they got to help fund the mission clinic down at First Baptist by the bridge. There was a group of folks here that were really interested in Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which raises money to get books to kids for free. And these women got together and said, well, why don't we do that here? Why can't we do that here? And they needed a certain amount of money. So they started raising money, and we were able to match that money so that now kids in Franklin County are getting books from Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which is kind of exciting. One of the other things, it's like, Paul, we were talking about being, the whole part of this is so important is we need to talk to each other. We need to be, we need to have people out there that are dot connectors. When you hear something, how do you help make something happen? We're all involved in different organizations, and that's one of the things that I think is the most important, is how, as an organization, as a community fund, how do we help people, bring projects to light? What is it that we can do? Like last year, I was talking to Leanne Snelling and Teresa Barton, and they were really interested. They wanted to do this project. They'd seen it other places, and they wanted to put umbrellas in the alley, in Catfish Alley, between I guess it was between the Foundry and I just went blank on the bar, the Cooperage. So what they thought they would do is they could raise money to get those umbrellas up, but raise enough money that they could donate it to a nonprofit. Well, and I don't know how many of y'all were paying attention. I don't know whether Kelly talked a little bit about this last week when she was here, but the city had sort of kicked off this CARES coalition, which is a coalition of some of our human service agencies, nonprofits in town, to try to get them to work, I don't want to say work better together, but to work better together, and so we can make better use of the resources that we have. And so anyway, we were able to serve as the fiscal agent since the CARES Coalition was not a nonprofit yet. They'd applied for their status but hadn't received it yet. So the community fund was able to serve as the nonprofit and be the fiscal agent for the Umbrellas in the Alley project and raise, $20-some thousand for the CARES Coalition. So we're really excited about that. So it's a matter of being creative about what you do and just talking to people and trying to figure out how we can best help and put what few resources we have and start to put them together to to do more. And the part I think we at the beginning we were really focused on raising money for an endowment, which is, like I said, it's hard for people to understand. It's not an easy give. You don't see, immediate results. It's not like you're giving diapers to help babies that need diapers and this, it's like, okay, it's down the road. So what we realize is that as we move forward, we got to start doing these other things, and it's that which brought me to the partnering piece of it. Is if we're working with everybody with what little money we have and showing people that how you work together, that it's easier to leverage what little money we have and make bigger money out of it, then that's the money will come to the endowment as we grow and become more relevant, I guess, to people and have people understand us better. So we're currently working with a number of nonprofits around town, looking at how we can help them, like using what money we have to do challenge grants to raise money for specific projects that nonprofits may have, or to folks that are getting it right off the ground, like I said, serving as fiscal agent for them. So that's where we are. That's where we've been. I guess it's probably been about 5 or 6 years maybe since we started, and we're kind of excited where we are, but we just need to keep growing. We need to keep getting the word out. I need to do more of this. Like we started out, before COVID, then we kind of got in that COVID rut, and then everybody's, kind of getting out from under their rock now. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all. I know you all do good things, and so if you have ideas and stuff that we could partner on, please let me know. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that folks might have about the fund, how we operate, how we could operate, what kind of things we could do. Yes, sir.
No, you mentioned startup. You help with startup for organizations, new 501c3s, I'm assuming. What type of things do you do as far as startup as a fiscal agent? Do you give them a line of credit from the beginning, or how do you?
We have not gotten into that part of it. What I talk about being the fiscal agent. So if folks, like with the Umbrellas in the Alley project, folks wanted to be able to give to it. They wanted to be comfortable in who they were giving to. That it was, it was a nonprofit. They could take whatever tax break or deduction that they wanted to take. And it's just that is holding the money and for the entity until they had their nonprofit status. The other thing too is we started to work with, and this is really important with the CARES Coalition, that I've realized it with some of these nonprofits, is that how they present their financial information is really important. That one of the things that we've been working with Bluegrass is it's the Gold Star. It's a financial reporting thing for nonprofits, so that it's apples and apples and oranges, so that when a potential funder looks at them, can be comfortable in how their money's managed and how they're organized and all. And we're working with some of these because a lot of these folks have not, some of the smaller nonprofits have not gotten to that point. So what we want to do is to be able to have the standard across the board for these organizations, so that people can feel comfortable when they give, and that it's it's managed properly. Again, like the folks, the nonprofits that are participated in the Good Giving Challenge, they have to do that. They have to have their paperwork in order and do the Gold Star thing to be able to participate. So that's it.
This is totally Franklin County, right?
Pardon?
Franklin County only?
Yes, we are. Yeah, they have a separate. They have a community fund in Woodford County. They have one in Fayette County, Clark County, Madison County.
Isn't it part of the Bluegrass Sand District?
No, it probably mirrors the ad district in terms of the number of counties that are served. But,
17 counties?
yeah, but not all those counties have endowments like we do. Like Scott County still does, and I think Scott County is, one of the things that's there is because they've enjoyed the largesse of Toyota, that they haven't, it hasn't been as immediate a need for them. But the Clark County Fund was started with, I think it was Rockwell, it was you can see it on the side of the interstate. When they left, I think the money from the sale of the property or something started their endowment years ago. So that's how they, got theirs started. Madison County, I think they started about the same time we did. Woodford County's been, around a few. So, but Bluegrass, the community foundation there has, like I said, is dedicated a staff person to helping, the counties around Lexington grow, because if they're going to be the Bluegrass Community Foundation, it's more than Lexington. It's about all of us, working together regionally.
How much is in the endowment right now?
The Franklin County endowment, it's close to 300,000.
300,000.
I believe they put out an annual report, don't they?
Yes, ma'am.
How would people contribute to that?
I should have. I was looking for. We had the brochures that I had were old, and I thought, and then I didn't have time to print out anything new or make anything new. But I can send you all information so you can, so folks will know how to do that. Do you communicate? Email? Do you all do? Email the group?
Yes.
Okay, so if I send it to Jim, he can get it out to everybody. Okay, yeah, we'll do that then.
Any other?
This club and the Kiwanis Club for the last 13 years did the OK for CASA chili lunch, raising money for CASA. You had 2 nonprofits raising money for a third. This year, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about that, is Rockin' for Kids, ROK. That's Rotary, Optimist, and Kiwanis are going to have a chili lunch for the King Center
Oh, great.
this fall.
So the organization is was the lunch honoring Hank Hancock, was that your kickoff? Is it you all?
Yes.
No,
Or is that the first time you all have done that as a group
that
of
was
organizers?
totally separate.
But in terms of the 3 organizations getting together to do the project
Yeah,
together.
those 3 organizations work that, yeah.
Great. It's exciting.
Any other questions,
Anybody else have anything?
comments? Okay. Well, Harry, we appreciate your work. Keep us informed as to what's.
I will, and I will send you information so you can get it out to everybody so that, we do so much electronically now. I have to laugh because they give us those little scan gizmos for people, to point their phone at, and they can give that way, and I always laugh about it, but people do that.
I'll give you my email. But anyway, Harry, I'd like to leave you with an Optimist glass as a gift for
thank you. I
being with
appreciate
us
it.
today, and also a copy of the Optimist Creed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you. Paula, did you have anything more to say?
No, we appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you all.
Yeah.
You really do. All right, next week we have Laura Haig, the Frankfort City Manager, is going to be our program, so hope everybody can. And hopefully the weather will be a little better next week, a little warmer, we hope. Yeah. Okay, if there's nothing else, let's stand and we'll recite the creed and be dismissed. All right. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. To make all your friends feel that there's something in them. To look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true. To think only for the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. To be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. To forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the great achievements of the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times and to give every creature you meet a smile. To give so much time to the improvement of self that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to be in the presence of trouble. All right. All right, everybody have a good week.